Hi there, this is Art and Such with my Rainbow Loom tutorial for Merlin as he's portrayed in the Shrek series. I'm going to be making the hat for him today and we'll incorporate that, but if you'd like the little tuft of white hair, I'll explain how you can achieve that effect as well. I won't be making the glasses with you, but I can tell you they're done with a thin gauge wire and some small pliers. And I'll be making one arm and one leg with you and asking you to pause for the others. A couple of other notes: I'm gonna use a different skin tone, different tone of skin tone bands this time, but whichever one you pick is fine. And I'm gonna use a lighter blue just because, and we're also gonna try for this one to put a little bit of gold at the end of the sleeves, the bottom of the pants, and if you'd like you can add it on your hat. So what else do you need to know? For materials, we have small white beads with a black marker for the eyes, or you can use black beads or black bands for the eyes. We have white bands for the beard and the hair, eyebrows at the top as well if you like. Some skin tone bands, a blue of your choice. And for the feet, the sandals, we have some brown, I'm using a sort of caramel shade, and some gray. You're gonna need your hooks, 1 or 2 holding hooks. If you are using beads, you might want a thin wire or a piece of dental floss to help thread your beads on. And you're gonna need your loom, but we're doing 2 configurations. One for the arms, we'll have it set up like this, such that you have the 2 outer rows together and supported top and bottom, and some spaces here. We're going to do this like Kate Schultz does her skirts to get that rounded effect. Now after that, we're going to come back and you're going to need your loom or a separate loom like so, with the middle row raised above the center. You can change it later, but this gives you the option if you want to set a second one up. I think we are ready to start. So as I said, I have one arm ready. This is what it looks like with the gold. And we're going to begin. So whether you're using gold or blue, you're going to take 2 bands, put them together, twist them once, and stretch it across your loom one side to the other. Just across that gap there, press it down. Do that again, coming down the side 3 times. It's 2 together, twist. Now, because we want this to be sort of cylindrical, we'll be coming back in a circle. Take another 2, twist them, put them on your next pegs. As I said, if you don't want the gold, these can all be blue. We keep going around until we reach that top one again. Our next layer is going to be blue. I'm using a lighter blue this time, but you can use whichever one you like. And we're going to take a single band and stretch it straight across without twisting it. And follow your circle around. This is our second row here. Now take your hook and you're going to take all of the gold pieces or bottom row pieces and lift them up over your blue and push down. You can take them 1 or 2 at a time or all together, as long as you get them all over. I'm going to do this all the way around. I'm going slow this time. You can definitely go at your own pace. I'm going to try and speed up a little bit once we're through the next set or 2, and you're hopefully more comfortable with this. For those of you who aren't already pros at this point. I still struggle with this a little myself sometimes. Okay. So that was our second row. Now we're going to take these 2 bands on the bottom one, lift them up, and put them onto the peg above. So now we have 7 pegs covered. And we're going to do another circle of those pegs using single blues again. You can see it's, like I said, sometimes it's a little hard here. Just, you gotta keep pushing the bands down on the bottom so it doesn't overlap there. Okay, and we're going to loop our third row. Take the bottom blues, and you're going to have 2 left on top. Bring your bottom ones out to the side, up and over. Press down. Now on this one here, we have a number of bands, and we only want the top 2 left. So bring 4 over. Come around to the other side, repeat. Now we press these down. Take the bands that are on this bottom peg, and you can move those onto the peg above. Push it down, and we're going to do 6 rows that cover these 6 pegs. So here is 1. And go under, lift them, the bottom 2. When you get to the peg where we added those other bands, we're going to take everything over except for the ones that are at the very top. Next bottom 2 and next bottom 2. Push them down, and we're going to do row 2 for our 6 peg set. And you can go around either which way as long as you are getting all the pegs. Push it down, and we'll do row 3. Lift the bottom over. Press down. Here's 4. I think we need 7 of these actually. That's what we did on the other, didn't we? Okay, so we need 3 more after this. If you want it to be a little shorter, you can always stay with 6 as well. So this is 5 and 2 more after that. getting harder to press down. You can always lift it up if you have this on your lap at home or whatnot. So 6. And you can stop it at 6, or I'm gonna add an extra one because I want these to be even, and I'm fairly certain that my first arm had 6. Had 7, I keep saying that. I have 7 in my notes as well. Okay, let's do one more for good measure. And pull this over. And now let's get our arm ready. You're going to take 2 skin tone bands, wrap them twice onto your hook, hold them together, 2 wraps, and we pull it onto 4 doubled over single bands. So here's a single band, skin tone, twist it, bring it onto itself, end of the hook, add a little tension, pull it over, there's 1. Second, stretch it out, bring it over itself, pull this on, that's 2, 3, and 4. Now for your next 4 single bands, you can use skin tone, you can use blue, or you can use a color of your choice as long as it doesn't contrast too much with your sleeve. I'm just going to use some clear bands here. And we use our singles, we don't double them over, we pull it through, and we are going to have a single chain of 4. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Whatever color you've picked, it isn't really going to show up. That's why it's okay to use clear or another shade. Now the top one is going to be blue, single blue, pull it through. Put the other end on, and we're going to take the hand and press it through the arm until you can reach it from the bottom. Take the bands that are on your hook and place one on the side, one on the other side. And it's okay if it overlaps this time. Okay, it's stretched across those middle ones. Now you're going to take your hook and carefully remove all of the bands on these pegs, going all the way around. You can hold down the side ones if you're worried they're going to get loose, or you can place them onto 2 separate bands and then pull it together. Once it's all on your hook, you take 2 blue bands and carefully slide over your arm pieces. You might want to do it a couple at a time. Put the other end on, and this can go onto a holding hook while you pause and you make your other arm. We're going to do the leg now. So I'm using some gray bands. My gray bands are not very strong, but they will suffice for this. You're going to take brown, wrap it 3 times. Take a gray, wrap it 3 times. And another brown and wrap that 3 times again. Take 2 gray bands And carefully slide all of these on, but don't replace the end just yet. We want to try and keep these in order too if we can. Now keep holding this with your left hand and keep it a little bit tight. We're going to pinch the hook with our left hand as well. And you're going to take a gray band and wrap it 3 times over the hook using your right hand. Then you can put the other end back so that now this sits in the middle. And this goes on to 2 gray bands. We're going to put it on the end, slide this all on top. Again, try and keep it in order as best as you can. As best you can. Now we want a little bit of a bend in the ankle. So we're going to take our next gray and double it over onto itself and then slide it through. And this will go onto 2 gray bands. And then onto 4 sets of double skin tone bands. So 2 skin tone bands, another 2, and 2. And you can put this on your holding hook as well. And take a minute to pause and make your other one. So now you have the arms and the legs. You're going to get your loom or a second loom ready in this position, middle row raised just above the other 2. And we're going to start on our body. You're going to take 2 blue bands and place them from the top center peg to the second peg in the center. Now these bands aren't going to show, the first ones, so if you want to save a couple bands, you can use a different color here. It doesn't really matter. We take double bands, come down from the second center to the second right, and 2 from the second center to the second left. Now we're going to come down to the bottom of the loom on each of these rows using double blue bands. So start up here, and you can do the rows going across and then down, or just pick one and come down all the way. Doesn't really matter as long as you're moving in that downward direction. Okay, almost there. And then once we get to the bottom, we can go back up to add our arms in just a minute. So if you are past this point, you can get your arms at the ready. I'll catch up with you in just a minute. Now grab your arms, and you're going to take all of the bands that are on your hook and place them on the second peg down on one side. And repeat with the other arm on the other side. Okay. Now my arms are kind of sticking up here. If you want your arms to face downwards, what you can do is put your hook in, take it out, take it off, turn it around, and put it on upside down. You can even transfer it to another hook first if you'd like. I'm going to do that on the other side. I'm going to lift the armbands up, and then I'm going to bring it down from the opposite direction. And if you want the arms to stand up, or you don't really care, you can certainly leave them going the other way if that's how it went on for yours. And just make sure you get all the pieces when you're done. Okay, let's put on our holding bands, and then we'll do a little extension at the bottom for that bit of a flare. Okay, so our extension pieces are all single blue bands, and we're gonna do triangles coming down on each set of pegs below. So this is starting at the third peg down and across, fourth peg and across, raise it over the center third and fourth to match. I just remembered something. We're going to make that one change here in a minute too. Because if you want his outfit to be blue, then this is what you've got to have. If you want a gold bottom, what we're going to do is take off these 3 bottommost sets, and we're going to make those gold. Now this is completely optional, but we'll try it this time. You can always jump ahead and check the thumbnail if you're not quite sure. Okay, let's do another single blue on top. And we're going to take double gold bands and get them ready. Take the hook that has your feet on it, your legs, and slide them onto the gold. Then bring that gold across from your bottommost peg to your bottommost peg from one side to the other. Get your hook in between the legs, and we're going to pull both pieces of it up and over. Okay, now we wanted to have our little extension. If you're doing blue, then that's fine, just keep it as it is. If you've used gold on the bottom as I had, then we're going to do the bottom piece in gold. So take a single, wrap it 2 or 3 times, and we are going to pull this onto, double check what I've written here for my notes here, onto a doubled over band. So that's a single that's been doubled over. And then onto 2 bands together. And we're going to place the bands that are on the hook on the second peg from the bottom. And then we're going to get our hook into the little loop in between and bring that over the bottommost peg on the side. Let's do one to the other side. I'm doing it in gold again because that's what I've chosen for the bottom of the outfit. Single wrapped 3 or 4 times onto a doubled over band. These gold ones are really, really tight, so there. Then onto 2 more golds. Put it on the second peg from the bottom. Get your hook into the piece of the chain, the link right underneath, and you can see I'm stretching it out to see it better. And this goes onto the bottommost peg on the side. And now we are going to loop it up. So I'm going to start in the middle. We take the bottom gold, bring it up, forward, over, press it down. The next 2 blue, and we're going to go straight up until we reach the second peg from the top. Now if you want to loop ahead, we're just going to be going straight up on each of the rows, grabbing the bottom 2 bands along the way. There are no other tricks or extra steps on the body in this particular project. Okay. Let's come back to the bottom. And as I said, we're going for the bottom 2 bands. So find them, get them to the side, and you're going to take your hook, open part pointed up, press it under, grab your bottom 2, loop them forward, and put them on the peg above. Your next ones are going to be blue, regardless of the color that you've chosen for the base. Those are going up and over. And again, push back the triangle bands, get your bottom 2, and go straight up. We're going to continue like this to the top of the loom. Okay, we're at the second peg from the top on the side, and you're going to look for these 2 bands which are coming from the second peg in the middle. Push back the bands that are on top or in the way. I'm just going to make sure, as I'm losing these, make sure I've got the right ones. So I'm going to pull these out a little bit. Reach through. We have a lot of bands of the same color. Want to make sure you get only the bottom 2. Bring it in. Go back to the bottom on the right side, find the bottom 2, and we'll loop those through and up and over. And continue on your way just as we did on the left side. Okay, last 2 are coming up from the center, from underneath to the top, going through all those bands. You're going to hold on to the bands into the top peg or put them onto a hook now. And we're going to remove the bands along the side. Moving downwards towards the bottom. Go to the other side. Let's ease off the others. See, my loom wants to come apart here, and that isn't good. I'll get it fixed before the next part. It's okay. And you're going to put your neck piece, bands on the top peg, onto a hook, and we can take off the rest of the body. See, we have a lot of tension here. Okay, I'm going to straighten up my loom and I'll be back. Now here you have the body, and we're going to come back to our loom again, and we're going to make our beard so that we don't have to move anything around later. We're using white for the beard, and we're going to take double bands and come down 5 times on either side. On the right and on the left. 2 sets, 3, 4, and 5. Now in the middle, we're going to take double bands, and we're going to start on the second peg down, and we'll come down until we are just 1 peg below the others. So that should be 5 sets as well, I believe. Okay, now take 2 more bands, and we're going to add them in the middle. Going down one more time. And we are going to take 2 bands and bring it from 6th peg on the left to our 8th peg in the middle. So it's coming down and it isn't going to the peg just beside below it, it's going to the next one. We'll repeat that on the left side. And now we come down 2 more times, once with 2 more times with double whites. You can switch to a single for the last one if you'd like. And we'll cap it off. You can cap it tight, or if you want it to be really curly loose, you can do it loose. I'm gonna wrap 3 times. 3. And our capping bands, our triangle bands rather, are all going to be doubled over singles. So we place one in a diamond shape from your 6th peg down on either side to your 6th peg down, and we stretch it up 1 and down 1. The next one is going to be an upright triangle doubled over single. And it's going from your 5th peg down to your 5th peg down over the 5th center. And you'll do this 2 more times on the sets above. And then we need one last one, another doubled over single. And this one will go from your 2nd peg to your 2nd peg and be pulled down under your 3rd peg in the middle. Back to the bottom, and you're going to get under your cap band at the bottom of the beard and loop up once, loop up again, find your top 2 bands and bring them back to the side that they came from. You're going to want to overlap, so just be careful, and you might even want to hold down or push down the bands in the center here as you're looping. Find your next 2 and bring them to the right side, and then you can loop straight up the middle, carefully pushing down as you go. Go in on the side and loop straight up, bottom bands only. And the other side, last row, last side here. When you're done, this will go onto your hook. So you put your hook through the bands on the top side peg, top right peg, top left peg. Try and keep the crossover bands where they are. Okay, straighten it out and put that on the side. I'm going to show you how to make this using the cap, and if you don't want the cap, I'll make a note here telling you where to go to in the video to continue. For the hat, you are going to take double bands and come down once on the top center to the 2nd center. Come down again 1 time, double bands, and then we're gonna go down 7 more times. 1, 2, we'll do 6, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I really want to make sure that we have enough room for our face here. Okay, let's go from our 3rd peg down on the center to the 4th peg down on the side. 3rd center to the 4th on the side. And now we're going to come down 5 times on either side with double bands. and that should bring you to the peg just below the middle one. We're going to do some crossover bands before we continue here. And we're going to double all of our bands over. We're just going to do some standard triangles. So go from your fourth peg to your fourth peg and over your fourth center peg. You can even, if you'd like, you can even make this a little bit tighter. It's probably not a bad idea because we want the hat to be really pointy and a little bit floppy. I'm going to take the end and try and give it an extra twist here. Let's see if we can manage that. These gel bands are pretty tight though. Might be tricky. No. Okay, well if you can get it around a third time, that's all the better anyway. And we're just going to double the rest. I think what I'll do, I'll pull this under here. That'll give it a little extra tension. And stop when you're at that last set. Now at this point, we're going to continue with our hat and do the last two pieces, the last piece here. If you don't want the hat, then this is where you're going to switch to skin tone bands. These would be double skin tone instead of double blue, and these would be skin tone instead of double blue. Okay, if you are doing the hat, then this is what you have, and we're going to proceed with the face. Now, regardless of hat options, we are coming down once with double skin tone bands on each of the sides. And we're going to have a second set of skin tone on each of the rows. And we'll have one more in the middle. Now take two bands and bring them from the side that's the third peg down from in the skin tone set and back to the other side. And this is what your face looks like regardless of anything else here. We are going to take a couple of bands for crossover bands, get our face nice and snug, take a single, double it over, stretch it across here, and one just below that. Now we have lots of parts to add to our face. We're going to start with the eyes. And for the eyes, you're going to take your beads or your band. You're going to get them onto a skin tone band, both eyes together. I'm going to use my trusty dental floss here to thread these on. This is something I picked up from some of the other loomers out there. Kate Schultz uses this method a lot, and her channel is Alicia's Designs. We take a thin wire or piece of dental floss and poke it through our beads when the hole is too small. You run it through your band, bring the floss back over and back through the beads. Pinch it and slide it on carefully. Okay, if you're counting from the last peg that we've used, we're counting up once. It stretches across, and you can, we're actually going to slip something just underneath here. Okay, just under each side of the eyes, you're going to put a white band and bring it up into the middle. And the other one as well. This is for our eyebrows. And this is optional too, but they add to his disorderly old wizard look. We're gonna separate the eyes a little bit. Just try and press them to either side. And now we can do our nose and our mustache. And our nose is a single band wrapped 3 times. Hold on to a doubled over band. Put the other end on. Pop it onto a single skin tone band and stretch it across the pegs that are below the eye. They're just above the chin there. And now we're going to lift this up and over that next peg. We're going to make a mustache, and that's going to go there too. You can make it as thick and as puffy as you want. For this mustache, we had 2 single bands wrapped nice and tight. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And pulled onto a single white band. And this goes onto the same pegs as the that are holding the nose right now. And we're going to pop this over that center peg as well. If you want it to be a longer mustache, you can add more. It's really up to you. Okay, we can add our body now. And this goes onto that bottommost skin tone peg. I'm going to stretch this down, and I'm going to stretch it to the side so that you can hopefully see a little better, a little more of what I'm doing. Okay, goes onto this peg here. Don't put your beard on now, don't worry about that, we're going to get that in just a second. First, let's loop up the top 2 bands from under the neck. And the next 2, go to the left. And the next 2 are going to come up once. Now we get our beard ready, and you'll have 12 bands on it. You're going to take the first 4. Well, I'll tell you, first of all, they're going to be on these 3 bands. So, 3 pegs. The pegs that you've just looped onto, that's where we're putting each set of 4. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my first 4, and then I'm going to loop up the bottom bands on that peg. And that's going to secure it so it doesn't try and slide off while I'm doing the next set. So carefully transfer your first 4 white bands over. You can use another hook if it helps you. Probably what I should be doing now. And you can use this hook or another one. And get your bottom 2 bands from that peg, bring them up and over. So now these are secure in place. We're going to get the next 4 over here right where the mustache is. And I'm just going to let it sit there for the moment, but I'm going to push it down. And the last 4 will go on the right. And you can loop up the bottom peg there as well. Sorry, bottom 2 pegs. Now in our middle section, we have our mustache and our nose, and they need to come back on top so that we don't loop over them. Now you're going to dig underneath all of that and get your bottom 2 skin tone and bring them up. I think we got it all. Okay, before we loop up the next part, you're going to take 2 white bands, wrap each one once or twice onto your hook. This is a method I've adopted from some of Looming with Cheryl's tutorials. Now, grab your next 2 side bands, slide these white ones on, and lift up onto the peg above. Do that again for the right side. 2 singles wrapped loosely. Get your bottom 2 pinks, slide these on, lift it up and over. And we also want to get those white bands for the eyebrows. So grab them from the sides and pull them up and over, sitting just under the eye there. And get your last skin tone set, bring it up. Now if you didn't use the hat, you're going to come in from the side, lift up these two skin tone and bring them to the center. Lift these two skin tone up and bring them to the center. And you're going to do your securing knot with 3 white bands, and then create a slip knot by pulling 2 through the others, or pulling one end through the others, and you can just secure one of those bands on the inside, or you can wrap one around the others like so, as you would a ponytail. Okay? Then you can add the glasses, dot in your eyes, and you're done. If you're doing the hat, we've got a little more work to do. We're going to come in from the sides just as we would with the skin tone. And then we're going to loop up on all of our columns. Take the bottom 2 of each set. And we'll just keep going straight upwards. You can do it 1 row at a time, or as I'm doing, kind of alternate. And just make sure you get them all. And watch out for those crossover holding bands. Some of them are a little tight because remember we have doubled them over. Okay, when you get to this point, you're on the 4th peg from the top. You need to get the bands that have come from your 3rd center peg and bring them back up. Continue looping up the center 3 more times. And we're going to take a last band, 2 if you'd like, slide it through the bands at the top, and we'll do our standard securing knot. Pull one end over the other, and carefully let's take this off of our loom. It's gonna look a little funny till we get his pupils in, but otherwise it should be pretty good. I'm actually reading a book about Merlin and the Sword of the Stone right now, and when my Gandalf came together so nicely between that and Sword in the Stone, was kind of inspired. I thought this would be a nice project. Okay, let's take our hat end, and you can tug it down to the side and the back. We're just going to hide it, slide it under some of the bands here, and put it onto a C-clip. Or you can just leave it as it is. It's up to you. Fit it onto another piece. Press your eyes out a little bit. You can adjust your eyebrows and whatnot. We'll get that marker and draw a couple of little circles for the eyes. If you want to try and make some glasses, you can get some wire at this point and start twisting. Give everything a little tuck. And I'll lay these down for you to have a look. Let me show you how he came out. And I'm going to try and get some links in the description or in the video so you can see some of my other Shrek tutorials. You won't have to track back to the beginning. At any rate, I thank you for watching.